I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we unravel a thrilling mystery entwined with a captivating love story. We're talking with an awesome author about his book, Cle Curbo. The name of the book, For the Love of Maggie O'Die. This novel follows Maggie O'Die, the enigmatic head of All Bile, and young private investigator Ryger Deacon as they uncover secrets and face dangers that challenge their pasts and futures. Join us as we delve into a world of intrigue, romance, and suspense that keeps readers on the edge of their seats. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put him in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support authors like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his wonderful book. The links are below this interview. Cle, great to see you here today on Spotlight.
Well, it's great to be here, Logan.
Tell us what inspired you to create the complex character of Maggie O'Die and her intriguing backstory.
Well, it's a very long story. I mean, not the Maggie O'Die story, but the long story of how the heck I got it published. And I mean, way back in 1990, I had this dream of an older couple. They're looking out their second-story bedroom window down at the street, and they're saying, the guy is saying to her, "You sure that's the car?" And she says, "Yes, yeah, I saw him get into the car." "And you're sure it's a tracker?" "Yeah." "Well, you know what that means, honey. We got to split town." So she went south, he went north. We'll meet up at the certain place, and that kind of started the whole thing. Well, I was writing another book at the time, Quest for Sylvain, and in 1994 I finished them both, but they were in rough draft. The next year I went to a conference in San Jose, California, and met an agent who agreed to read the book. And I said, "Well, you know, it's really in rough draft. I'll send it in when it's done." Now, what the nice little lady agent didn't know was that I had absolutely no confidence in my ability as a fiction writer. I'd been writing legalese stuff. I was about to put up the first seminar online for California attorneys to get their legal credits, continuing ed credits. I have no idea how John Grisham does it. I mean, he was writing notes on his fiction book as he's going up the back stairway to the hearing in court. Got to admire that guy. So it took me a heck of a long time to finally get this book done. And in 2018, I started writing it again. I was lucky to have as a critique partner Susan Wiedner, who is a master of fine arts in creative writing. What more could I ask for?
Yeah,
it was really good. So it goes on from there, and finally in 2021, I get Jenny Grossenbacher to edit it, and I publish it not in 2022 or 2023 I finally did, because when an author writes a book, he wants to make sure it's really good, and he can work forever trying to perfect it. There is no perfection.
exactly.
So it is, yeah. I mean, it's said that authors walk away from the book, they abandon it. So I finally had to abandon it and publish it in 2023. That's the story. And, decades later, it turns out that the agent has retired. So forget the agent. I self-published it.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, we're glad you did, because it's such an original story. Let's give the folks at home an overview of what it's about.
Well, it's hard to give an overview without giving some of it away, and I guess I could give some of it away. The overview is that it is a love story mystery where the love story and the mystery are so entangled you can't separate one from the other. They're the same mystery, the same love story. So, the complications in this book, it really demands that you walk through as you're reading. You're walking through each change of circumstance that Ryger Deacon, the main character, goes through. And we're in his head much of the time. He starts out, as you may remember, on a piece of cardboard on Nob Hill in the middle of a foggy November night. And he knows nothing about who he is or what, did friends put him there in a drunken spree or something? He doesn't know. He finds he's walking in the fog in a coat, barefoot. Coat is all he has on. He puts his hands in the pocket and he finds there's a business card, Ryger Deacon, private investigator, and on the back it says, "Find your new self." So he goes to the address and he feels like a bum, and is anybody going to let him in? And Jerry, the security guy, comes in and says, opens the door and he says, "Do you have a card?" And the guy, well, yeah, but he gives him a card. "Oh, good, Mr. Deacon, come right in. We've got Pat waiting for you up there, take care of you." So it starts out with the mystery right away involving the main character, who is about 6'2" and about 35 years old, which means, Logan, that you could play him if we can get Steven Spielberg to do the movie, or maybe
Exactly.
Michael Mailer.
Well, I'm a huge fan of film noir, and this kind of fits up that alley. So absolutely, sign me up. I'd love to play Ryger, without a doubt. That would be great. It's a great character you have developed. So that was actually a question I had for you today was, have you envisioned it as a movie? So you've already cast the part of Ryger Deacon. What about Maggie? Who would play her?
Oh, that's a tough one. I was thinking either Kate Beckinsale,
Mhm.
and I'm thinking of the movie Total Recall, the
Yeah.
latest version of it. And she played an excellent part, beautiful gal. But Jessica Biel was also in there, and they were counterposed, you might say, because Kate played the very hard-nosed, she was with the bad guys. And Jessica Biel, on the other hand, was the heartfelt love of the main character. So we need kind of a heartfelt guy and gal. And I just, I'm total prejudiced against and for, but I'm not a casting director. But I like Jessica Biel.
Yep, I'll vote for her as well, or maybe Gal Gadot would be great as well. Any one of those beautiful women would be perfect. Add a lot of
Absolutely.
intrigue to the story. Let me ask you this. Tell me a little bit about your writing career. You have written quite a bit in science fiction and fantasy, right?
I have, my big fantasy book, I still haven't finished it. Uh, but I probably should write an apocalyptic before that. But I was still struggling in the early part of the century with how to write fiction. So I put together some short stories. I figured, what the heck? Short
Yeah.
stories, I'll just get something out there, and publish. And so I put 5 stories together, published it under the name of In the Garden of Mistress Bloom.
Mhm.
And that was 2014.
Wow.
And it was 7 years later when I said, well, why don't I enter a contest with, and Writer's Digest, premier publication for writers, had a contest. So I entered it. And I just was so surprised when they said, by the way, you got first place in sci-fi. I
Wow.
said, "What? Oh, I did? Oh, so that boosted the confidence level, which every writer has to have at some point,
Exactly.
after they put in their 10,000 hours. But
Wonderful.
yeah, I think I finally gotten rid of my legalese, um, which was,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Without a doubt, for the love of, do you call it O'Die or O'Die?
Well, she calls it OD, like the River D,
Mm-hmm.
but and in the song, um, it says it that way, but it
Yeah,
does look like
O'Die.
Maggie O'Die.
And
Yeah.
that's kind of intriguing for a title, Maggie O'Die. She sounds like a femme fatale, which of course adds to the intrigue of the book and her story and her backstory as well. Are you going to do a sequel to this, perhaps?
Oh, I definitely am doing a sequel now, and it's entitled For the Love of Simon Syllabus, who is the first character we meet in the first page. And he's being chased by either the trackers or the cops, and he has to get rid of the body. And, reminds me of body. Um, M.L. Hamilton gave me a great review. She writes oh, Miley Cyrus, and she writes the Peyton Brooks mystery series. Terrific gal, 70 books to her name. She says in her review of the book that, like so many mysteries, Cle Curbo's book, For the Love of Maggie O'Die, opens with a body. But
Mm.
lest you become too comfortable, not all is what it seems. And I think that tone carries through. I certainly intended for it to. Did you
Absolutely.
catch it
Like I
that
said, it's
way?
a very original story, but it feels like a classic. So you have some classic elements in there, but the fact that it's your story, an original story, really shines through as well, where you kind of take the genre and flip it. And I think it's very, very effective, very, very thrilling for the reader. The name of the book is For the Love of Maggie O'Die or For the Love of Maggie O'Die. You take your pick. The novel begins by following Maggie O'Die, the enigmatic head of all bio, and young private investigator Ryger Deacon as they uncover secrets and face dangers that just could change their lives, both the past and the future. It's an amazing read. Cle, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you so much, Logan. I
I
hope to
appre
be back for the sequel.
I'd love to have you back on, talk about the sequel. I hope to see you on the premiere night when Hollywood listens and makes this a movie, because it'd be terrific to take it and adapt it for the screen, of course. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.